Konnichiwa minna. Hello everybody. Welcome to another live stream. So, for this live stream, I'm going to be talking about the newest set that just came out in Japan that's going to be coming out in English, I believe in April. So, I'm going to be talking about temporal forces. So this is going to be a very different set. Um where Hay Specs are coming back, which I am so excited because I've watched a lot of Pokemon YouTubers um opening up this set in Japanese, and the A specs look amazing. Like I love the pink, like it really stands out in your deck, which is really cool. So I'm a fan of the A specs. I do like the look of them, me personally. So I'm just gonna go through every single card and read them and see what my opinions are. Even though I am not like the best when it comes to the TCG, but I will try. So, starting off with the grass Pokemon. So, the first card that we see is Scyther, Rudora, Iku. But hold on. Sodora Iku. So that's how you say Scyther in Japanese. Sodora Iku. So the effect is for one colorless energy, cut up for 10 damage, and then for a DCE slashing strike 60 damage during your next turn. This Pokemon cannot use slashing strike, which you're basically going to use Scyther to evolve into Scizor. Next we have Pineco. So Kunugi Guma. Kunugi Guma. So Pineco. For 3 DCE, ram for 50 damage. Eh. So next we have C dot Taneho, I think. Taneho. Because the line stretches it out. Um so Taneho. For a grass, for rigid rigid ifty, I guess. I don't know what kind. I don't know. So during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks after applying weakness and resistance, and then low kick for 20 damage for a DCE. Yeah, not very good. It's basically like it's only a basic, so we have to see what Shift Tree can do once we get to him. Next we have C dot. So no, not C dot. Sorry, Nuzleaf. Next we have Nuzleaf. So Konohana, I guess. For a grass, corkscrew punch for 20, and DCE for continuous slap 30 times damage. Flip 3 coins. This attack does 30 damage for each heads. And like it's a coin flip, and we know that coin flips are not very good. Next, we go to Shift Tree. So, wait. I think it's Date Ongu. Date Ongu? Yeah, yes. Sorry, guys. Like, my katakana is very rusty, but I think that's how you say that. So, for a grass, for Explosive Tornado, choose 3 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Your opponent shuffles any cards and all cards attach them into their deck. Okay, so yeah, so you basically shuffle your opponent's bench. So I guess that's good, you know. Maybe it'll be good in GLC. Maybe. And then for a DCE for Energy Loop for 140 damage, put an energy attached to this Pokemon into your hand. Next, we have Shroomish, Kino Koko. No, yeah, Kinu Koko. Double Headbutt 10 times. Flip 2 coins. This attack does 10 damage for each heads. And then Seed Bomb for 20 damage for 2 grass. Yeah, so far, some of the grass Pokemon is not looking good. Next, we have Breloom, Kinoga, Kinogasu, Kinugasuza, Kinugasuza. Sure, we'll go with that pronunciation. Punch for 30 for a DCE, and then for a grass and a DCE. Well, not a DCE, a colorless, sorry. So for one colorless energy, punch for 30, and then a grass and a colorless for 120. During your next turn, you can't use this attack. Next, we have Roselia, which is so cool. I love Roselia. I do have a Roselia on my team, and I named him Kurama-chan because Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho uses a rose whip. So yeah, Roselia. So Rosaria. So kind of like how we say it in English. So that's cool. Ability Poison Point. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon and it is damaged from an opponent's attack, the attacking Pokemon is now poisoned. Now that's pretty good. That's pretty good because, like especially in GLC format, yeah, basically if your opponent like attacks you, they get poisoned. Pretty good, I would say. Definitely really good in GLC. Now we go to Rose Raid. Rosu Rendon. Sure, we'll go with that. So, ability again, so same thing as the Roselia, Poison Point. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon and it is damaged from an opponent's attack, even if this Pokemon is knocked out, the attacking Pokemon is not poisoned. So very good. And then Blind Down. So yeah, so that's just its ability. So the attack for a DCE, Bind Down, 70 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon cannot retreat, so they can't retreat out of that poison. So I think that's pretty good, especially in GLC format. I definitely want to use this card in GLC, the Roselia and the Rose Raid. Next, we go to Turtwig, Naidondru. So its ability, Solid Shell. This Pokemon takes 20 less damage from attacks. Pretty good. And then Leafage for 30. So, pretty cool Turtwig. Next, we have Grottle. Hayashigame. So, cut for 20 for one grass, and then a DCE and a grass, ramming shell, 50 damage during your opponent's next turn. This Pokemon takes 20 less damage from attacks. Me personally, I kind of like if we're talking about GLC format, I like the Grottle from I think it's Brilliant Stars. I think where you get to search your deck for like grass Pokemon or something. I think that one's a little bit better than this one, but that's my opinion. Next, we have Torterra. Dogai Donzu. Sure, we'll go with that. And then so the attack for one grass, Forest March, 30 times, 30 times damage. This attack does 30 damage for each grass Pokemon you have in play. Really good. Definitely really good. And then a grass and a DCE for Jungle Hammer for 150 damage. Heal 50 damage from this Pokemon. Yeah, really good Pokemon. Really good EX Pokemon. I'm not sure if it's going to see a whole lot of play because grass, like unfortunately, like in standard, doesn't see a whole lot of play. But maybe we might see a lot of play with Torterra. At least I'm hoping so because I miss grass in the standard format. Next is Shaman. She me. She wait. She Emin. She Emin? Sure, we'll go with that. So, Pinpoint Dive for 1 grass. This attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Your opponent's benched Pokemon EX or benched V. Really not that great, but really cute artwork though. I really do like the artwork of that Shaman. Really cute. And a DCE for rear kick for 50 damage. Yeah, not that great, but I do love the artwork though. Now we have Cottony. Yeah. So Cottony Mon Men. So 1 grass for triple spin for 10 times damage, flip 3 coins. This attack does 10 more damage for each heads. Not that great, but still kawaii though. Really kawaii Pokemon. I do like Cottony. Next we have Whimsicott. So Whimsicott is Idu. Is it Hiruran? Hiruran? Maybe. So for its ability, Uplifting Heal, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may heal all damage from your active grass Pokemon. If you do, discard all energy attached to that Pokemon. And then Seed Bomb for 1 grass for 40 damage. Yeah, some of these grass Pokemon are really not that great. Well, like the Torterra is good, and then I think Roserade and the Roselia are good for DLC. And then we have such cute artwork of Deerling. I love the artwork of this card. Like so kawaii, mecha kawaii, I would say. So yeah, Deerling is Shiki Jiga. Shiki Jika? Sure, we'll go with that. So for a colorless energy, flop for 10 damage, and grass and a DCE for autumn tackle for 40 damage. Discard a grass energy from this Pokemon. And I really don't see. I don't think it's gonna seem played even in GLC. Next we have Sawsbuck. And I do love the artwork of this Sawsbuck too. I like the autumn like antlers and like the leaves. So cool. So Mebuki Gika. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Ability seasonal change. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a stadium card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And then a grass and a DCE for super powered horns for 110 damage. Yeah, not great, but beautiful artwork. Next, we have Grubbin, Ago Gimugi. Sorry, guys. I have something stuck in my throat here. Let me take a drink. There we go. That's better. All right. So Grubbin is one colorless energy. For Flock, search your deck for up to 2 Grubbin and put them onto your bench. Shuffle your deck. And then a DCE for Vice Grip for 10 damage. Next is Dilamize. Dilamize is Gagarin, sure. A DCE for spinning attack for 30 damage. And then a Grass and 2 DCE Steel Anchor for 80 plus damage. If you have any benched M Pokemon, like Metal Pokemon, I'm guessing. If you have any benched Metal Pokemon, this attack does 80 more damage. Okay. Next we have Bomblin. Bomblin is Anokusa. No. Anokusa. Anokusa. So for a DCE. Yeah, so a DCE for Spike Sting for 30 times. Next we have Bomblegast, which is a tumbleweed, which looks really cool. I do love the artwork of this card for being a tumbleweed, so that's cool. So how to say Bumblegast is Anohora Guza. So for the ability Weedy Resistance, for each prize card your opponent for each prize card your opponent has taken, this Pokemon gets plus 50 HP. So 1 Grass and a DCE for Powerful Needles. For 80 times, flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 80 damage for each hit. Definitely really good for the ability, I would say, especially in GLC. So next we have Scovillian EX. So yeah, so I'm just gonna stop trying to say the names in Japanese because I'm tired already. So Scovillian EX, which is a bunch of peppers. Yeah. So for a colorless energy for Spicy Bind, your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. The defending Pokemon cannot retreat during your opponent's next turn. And then for 2 Grass, Two-Faced Crash. For 140 damage, discard a random card from your opponent's hand. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. I don't think it's going to see any play. And I have not been the biggest fan of Scovillian as a Pokemon. Just not my cup of tea. But I do like peppers, though. I like peppers and stuff. I just don't like the Pokemon. But yeah. Then we have Relor, which I don't even remember this Pokemon. So for a colorless energy, Slight Intrusion for 30 damage, this Pokemon also does 10 damage to itself. Next is Rabiska. The ability Spherical Shield, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to your bench Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So kind of like Manaphy. So that's cool. And then we have a Grass Psychic for 10 plus damage. This attack does 30 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So that's pretty good. Kind of like a Manaphy, but grass, and it's a stage 1, so you have to evolve into it first. But I think it's pretty good. Next card is Iron Leaves EX. The ability, Rapid Vernier. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may switch this Pokemon with your active Pokemon. If you do, you may move any number of energy from your bench Pokemon to this Pokemon. Pretty good. Pretty good. For the ability. And then 2 grass and a colorless for Prismatic Edge for 180 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon cannot attack. So basically, you're going to use it for its ability, most likely. Next is Ponyta. So Ponyta. So same. So you say it the same in Japanese as well. So for a colorless energy, for charge energy, search your deck for a basic energy card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And a fire and a colorless for Flametail for 20 damage. I think the first attack is better. But like you might see it in GLC, I don't know, maybe. But I do love the artwork of this card. I love how we have the artwork of Ponyta, and then in the background, it looks like the world is shifting, and we see a bunch of other Ponytas in the background. So I do like the artwork of this card. Really pretty, because that's the one thing I do love about Pokemon. Their artwork is amazing. So shout out to all the artists in the Pokemon world, because this artwork is amazing. Like all the art, well, most of the art. Well, like a lot of the artwork is amazing in Pokemon. A lot of the artwork is. So, yeah. So I could see why people get into Pokemon just for the artwork, because the artwork in Pokemon is amazing, which is why I'm into it. Because, wow, just phenomenal artwork. Phenomenal, phenomenal. Next is Rapidash. So for a colorless energy for combustion for 20 damage. Oh, so now we're in the fire Pokemon now. Starting with that Ponyta. So now we're in the fire. So the grass Pokemon is done. Now we're into fire. Yeah, so Rapidash for a colorless energy for combustion for 20 damage. And then a fire and a colorless for Inferno Onrush for 120 damage. This Pokemon also does 30 damage to itself. Eh. Next is Slugma for fire energy, Torch Seer for 10 plus damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is burned, then this attack does 40 more damage. Next is Macargo, which I do love the artwork of this card. I love the artwork of this Macargo. Really cool. Like we have Macargo in like a dark sky, and then there's like some like red lines and blue lines. So maybe this is the Northern Lights or something, which is cool. And it looks like Macargo's shell is leaking out fire. So I really do like the artwork of this card. Really cool. So the ability Lava Pools. Whenever your opponent's active Pokemon moves from the bench during their turn, the new active Pokemon is now burned. And then Heat Blast for a DCE and a fire does 100 damage with no drawback, which is quite rare for fire, because usually when you have to do an attack, you have to discard like fire energy and stuff. So yeah, flat out 100 damage, and there's no drawback to it. So that's really cool. But ooh, that nasty retreat cost of 4, that's gonna hurt, like big time. Next is Victini. Color, yeah. So for 1 colorless energy, flippity flap. So is Victini a bird now? Sure. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 6. Pretty good. So yeah, drawing 6 is good. Drawing cards is good. And then for a fire energy, burned away for 30 damage, discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Yeah, you're probably going to use it for the flippity flap. Next is Heatmore. And I do like the artwork of this Victini. Like super cute artwork. It's like how it looks like it comes from a children's book or something, but I love it. Next is Heatmore. For fire energy, for live coal, for 20 damage, and 2 fire and a colorless licking fire for 30 damage, flipping 3 coins for each tails, discard an energy from this Pokemon. Okay. Interesting. Heatmore licks fire. But anything is possible in the Pokemon world, right? Next, we have Litten. So, fake out for 1 fire energy for 10 damage. Flip a coin if heads. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So that's cool. Um, yeah, for a coin flip, you have the option. So yeah, so if you hit the coin flip and you could paralyze your opponent, that could potentially be good. Next is Torracat. So for 1 fire energy, for bite for 30 damage, 1 fire and a DCE for flare strike for 80 damage. This Pokemon cannot use flare strike during your next turn. Next is Incineroar EX, which I'm not a huge fan of Incineroar, me personally. Not one of my favorite Pokemon for sure. I would prefer um like not Oshawott, Poplio. I prefer Poplio, and Rowlet and Decidueye. I prefer those Pokemon over Incineroar, but that's just my opinion. Ability Hustle Play. Attacks used by this Pokemon cost 1 energy less for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So basically, if your opponent has a full bench, you can use the second attack, Blaze Bomb, for 220 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. I mean, I have heard some talk for this card. So it's 1 fire and 4 DCE. But if your opponent has a full bench, basically you can attack for free. So 240 damage, and your opponent's Pokemon is now burned. I have heard some talk about this card, and me personally, this is just me personally, I don't think it's that great. I don't think it's that great in my opinion. But that's just me. Like only time will tell. Next is Tortinator. So a fire and a colorless for spit out shot. This attack does 40 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and then 2 fire and a colorless for Steam Archery for 100 damage with no drawback, which is cool. And it has a 2 retreat cost, which is not bad. Like it's better than that Macargo that had like a 4 retreat cost. And the artwork looks quite interesting in this one. Quite interesting. Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna see any play. Not in GLC and definitely not standard. But yeah, that's just my opinion though. Next is Sizzlipede for a fire heat dive. For 30 damage. This Pokemon also does 10 damage to itself. Next, we have Centiskorch, which I do like Centiskorch. Definitely one of my favorite Pokemon, even though I don't like centipedes in real life. I think they're gross. But I like Centiskorch, though. For a fire, for Singe, your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. And then for 2 fire, for Charring Breath, 180 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon isn't burned, this attack does nothing. Alrighty then. Next is Gorging Fire. So, the ancient form of Entei, which is cool. So for a fire and a colorless, Heat Blast for 60 and two fire and a colorless for explosive fire for 260 damage. This Pokemon cannot use explosive fire again until it leaves the active spot. I mean, we still have Magma's Basin. We still have that in the format. So I guess you could power it up with Magma Basin, but fire really doesn't have, well, yeah, so there is Magma Basin, and then I think there's Kindler. I think there's a supporter card that powers up fire Pokemon too. But yeah, this card would be good if there was a way to power up fire Pokemon like water has, like an acceleration and stuff. So it would be cool if fire had like an acceleration Pokemon like with Himbor back in the black and white era, but we'll see. Next we have Totodile, and I do love the artwork of this Totodile, like so cute, like swimming in the water. So for 1 water energy, Big Bite for 10 damage during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon cannot retreat. Next, we have Crocodile with a water energy for Reverse Thrust for 30 damage. Switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, and then this is the one I'm really excited for. For Alligator, for the ability Torrential Heart. Once during your turn, you may put 5 damage counters on this Pokemon. If you do, attacks used by this Pokemon do 120 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon during this turn. And then for 2 water, Giant Wave for 160. This Pokemon cannot use Giant Wave during your next turn. I think this card is really good. I would totally put this card in my GLC deck. Oh yeah, definitely. Next up is Carvana. So for for DCE Splash Wave for 30 damage. And I love the artwork of this Sharpedo. The artwork looks amazing. This is why I love Pokemon. This is why I love Pokemon so much. Like, the artist in this game is amazing. Like, incredible. But, so Sharpedo for a DCE Bite Away, 50 damage. Flip 3 coins for each heads. Discard a random card from your opponent's hand. And 1 water and a DCE for Jet Headbutt for 100 damage. Not that great, but the artwork is cool. Next we have Keldeo. For 1 water for rapid draw, 20 damage, draw 2 cards. That could be pretty good. And then 2 water and a colorless for Aqua Blade for 110 damage. I think its first attack is good. Next is Snom, and I love the artwork of this Snom. So cute. Just like this Snom is like burrowing itself in the snow. Like, so cute. Yeah, so for 1 water, Powdered Snow for 10 damage, your opponent's active Pokemon's now asleep. Not that great, but Mecha Kohai though. Next we have Frostmoth, and I do love the artwork of this Frostmoth. Like, so pretty. Like, this Frostmoth, which Frostmoth is definitely one of my favorite Pokemon, is just flying around a dark city. Like a dark lighted up city, which is cool. So for 2 water, Freezing Cold for 100 damage. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon cannot attack. Next, we have Wiglet, another one of my favorite new Pokemon. I love Wiglet. For 1 water, Lucky Find, search your deck for an item card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. Pretty good. 2 water, Aqua Bomb for 40 damage. This Pokemon does 30 damage to itself. Next, we have Finizen. 1 water for Rain Splash for 10 damage, 1 water and a DCE for Sharp Fin for 50 damage. And then next we have Pal Fin, 1 water Vanguard Punch, 30 damage. 130 damage. This Pokemon also does 10 damage to itself for each damage counter on it. So I think that can work well with that for Alligator. Then water and a DCE for double hit for 90 times. Yeah, for 90 times damage, flip 2 coins. This attack does 90 damage for each heads. Next is Walking Wake EX, which is basically like Suicune, old version of Suicune, which I love because I love Suicune. Suicune is definitely one of my favorite legendary dogs. So, ability Azure Wave. Damage from attacks used by this Pokemon isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So, really good. And then 1 water and a DCE for Cathartic Roar. 120 plus damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition, this attack does 120 more damage. I don't think it's going to see any play. I mean, I don't see it. I mean, the artwork looks really cool, but I don't think it's going to see any play. But yeah. Next is an awesome, cute version of Pikachu. I love the artwork of this Pikachu, like so cute. So for 1 lightning, random spark, random spark random spark, this attack does 10 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. And next is Raichu. I love the artwork of this Raichu. Like laying down in the grass with his tail like wrapped around like from behind him. So, yeah. So cute. So, a lightning and a colorless entangling volt. This attack does 50 damage to each other Pokemon in play with damage counters on it. And then one lightning and a DCE Electro Ball for 120 damage. That could be pretty good. Next is Electabuzz. 1 lightning for Chop for 20 damage, and 1 lightning and a DCE for Electric Punch for 50 damage. Next is Electivire for 2 colorless. Short Circuit Knuckle for 40 plus damage. If your opponent has any water Pokemon in play, this attack does 120 more damage. And then 2 lightning and 2 colorless for Electro Slug for 140 damage. So Charjabug for 2 lightning, Static Shock for 60 damage. Vikavolt for 1 lightning, Match Bolt for 50 damage, and 2 lightning for Serial Cannon for 120 plus damage. This attack does 80 more damage for each of your bench Charjabug. Next is Zeraora for 1 colorless, Shocking Knuckles, 20 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. And then 2 lightning and a colorless, Strong Volt for 120 damage. Discard an energy from this Pokemon. I mean, I think this will be good. You know. Yes, status conditions are always good. I think 120 is good. Definitely for GLC, I think it's good. Next, we have Yamper for a colorless energy. Whimsy Tackle for 20 damage. Flip a coin. If Tails' attack does nothing. Coin flips are terrible. Next is Bolt Hound. A colorless Electrifying Dash for 50 damage. Search your deck for up to 2 basic lightning energy cards and attach them to your bench Pokemon any way that you like. Then shuffle your deck. Next is Wugtrio. which looks so cool. So Thrastalized version of Wug Trio. And they look like they're about to do some business. Like they look just so mean. Like I'm going to electrocute the heck out of you. So cute though. Water for triple pump. Discard up to 3 energy cards from your hand. This attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. For each energy you discarded this way. And then 2 water energy for stun hold for 120 damage. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon cannot retreat. Next is Iron Hands, which is probably not going to be good as Iron Hands EX, but we'll see. Lightning and a colorless. Volt Wave for 30 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. And then 2 lightning and a colorless for super Aoi Hands. 80 plus damage if your opponent's active Pokemon is an EX or a V. This attack does 80 more damage. So I guess that would be good if your opponent is playing a lot of EXs or Vs, which is definitely really good in this format because that's all people play. Next is Iron Thorns, which I will say the artwork for Iron Thorns looks amazing. Man, Iron Thorns looks like a mechanical Godzilla. This is so cool. So lightning. So for lightning and a colorless, Destropresser. For 70 times damage, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. This attack does 11. This attack does 70 damage times for each future card you find there. Then discard and reveal future cards and shuffle the other cards back into your deck. And then 3 lightning and a colorless for Magneton Lariat, which sounds like the attack on Tyranitar Prime for 140 damage. So now we are done with the lightning Pokemon. Next to the psychic Pokemon. So we're going to start off with Mr. Mime, of course. For a colorless Mime show, your opponent reveals their hand. They may use the effect of a supporter card you find there as this attack. So kind of like Portrait back in the day. So Portrait is coming back. Smeargle Portrait, where you get to copy your opponent's supporter. So I think that'll be pretty good. And then 1 psychic for Eerie Water. Eerie Wave for 20 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. I think the first attack is going to be really good. Next is Meryl, which is normally a water type, but it's a psychic type. And I love the artwork of this card. So cute. Like, this Meryl is just in the water looking like, what am I doing in this water? Am I supposed to be here? Well, you are a water type, so yeah, you're supposed to be there, Meryl. But don't you use your tail as like a flotation device anyway? Aren't you the flotation device Pokemon? Or maybe that's Floatzel and Weasel's thing. I have no idea. But so for a colorless, for Ball Roll for 10 times, flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 10 damage for each heads. And then 1 psychic and a DCE for Magical Shot for 40 damage. Next, going to a Zoomerale, which Zoomerale looks so cool and so cute. I love the flowers in the background. For 1 colorless, play Rough. For 30 plus damage, flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 30 more damage. A psychic and a DCE. Power Tackle for 40 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon cannot attack. Alright, so I'm going to stop reading the attack names now. I'm just going to go through and see what stands out to me. Probably the Draforig looks cool. Then we have Latias, Bronzor. Yeah, the artwork of these cards just look amazing. Like the Bronzor looks cool. Like the Bronzong is cool. Oh, I love the Reuniclus. Like Reuniclus looks like a waterbender from Avatar: The Last Airbender. That is so cool. And I love the artwork of this L gem. Really cool. And Behem. Cutie Fly looks adorable. Looks like something out of a children's book, which is cool. Yeah, just why does the artwork for this set look so cool? Like even though all the artwork from Pokemon sets look really cool. Then we have Screamtail, and then we have Fluttermane, which I heard this was a good card. Yeah. Midnight Fluttering. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon has no abilities except for Midnight Fluttering. Yeah, so that's definitely really good. Yeah, I really do like the Iron Valorant. For Psychic Energy, calculate, look at the top 4 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. I really do like that. Oh, here's the good one. This is the card that's supposed to be like Deoxys back in the Plasma era. Iron Crown EX, ability Cobalt Command. Your future Pokemon's attacks, except for any Iron Crown EX, do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, and then 1 Sidekick and 2 DCE. Twin Shoals, this attack does 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness, resistance of any of those Pokemon. So yeah, I heard this was supposed to be good. Then we have Metatite doing a Bruce Lee kick. You go, Metatite. Then we have Metacham doing some doing some yeah, he's probably doing some kung fu moves in the forest somewhere. Oh, I really do like the great tusk. Yeah, for a really good mill strategy. That's pretty cool. Yeah, like I really like that Gengar EX. Really cool. Yeah, I really do like the Roaring Moon. Really cool. Like I heard this was supposed to be good. Yeah, so the more ancient cards you have in your discard pile, the harder this attack is hitting for. So, oh, and the Scizor. I love Scizor. Scizor is definitely one of my favorites. Really cool artwork too. And then here's the good Matang here. Yeah, so ability Metal Maker. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 4 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic metal energy cards you find there to your Pokemon in any way that you like. Shuffle the other cards and put them at the bottom of your deck. So kind of like Magna Zone, I think from Astral Radiance, but this is a stage 1. I think Magna Zone's a stage 2. So this one's a little bit better. Yeah, I have about 10 minutes and then the stream's gonna be over, so I gotta go through it quickly. So as long as this Pokemon has future boost energy attached, like I've heard some Japanese lists running this card. Then we have Koraidon. This attack does 30 damage for each ancient Pokemon in play, so really good. Ugh. Yeah, all these big basic Pokemon, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel about it once this set actually comes out. because I might actually like it. I don't know. We'll see. Here's Miridon. Yeah, searching your deck for 2 basic energy is really good. And then we have Raging Bolt. I do like Raging Bolt. Really cool. Like with the long neck and stuff. Oh, I love the Skitty. Like around some Sakura Hana. Just so cool. Which I would love to go see. I would love to visit Japan and just see the Sakura Hana. Because like I want to see like the sakura trees, well the sakura hana trees, and just have a picnic underneath the trees. That's what I want to do. That sounds like fun. I would love to go to Japan. Like that's definitely one of my bucket list trips. I would love to go to Japan. And then here's the good Chichino. That's pretty good in like Lugia V Star decks. Yeah, and then here's the Iron Jugulus. I heard this card was getting some talk too. Now we go to the A specs, and the A specs look amazing. Like especially, I've been watching a lot of YouTubers opening Japanese boxes, and oh, the A specs look so cool. We have Buddy Buddy Poffin that's going to replace VIP Pass this rotation. Then we have the hand trimmers, which looks like hair trimmers, you know, like you used to shave your head. Then we have Hero's Cape, Master Ball. And then there's the Maximum Belt, which does 50 more damage to your opponent's active, so that's pretty cool. Morty, huh? Morty. I remember Morty back in the anime days. Good times. Then we have Primal Catcher. So this is probably the best A spec, Primal Catcher. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. If you do, switch your active Pokemon with your bench Pokemon. Ain't that what? Oh, like I guess you get to pick. Maybe this what makes it good because I was thinking about escape rope, but I think your opponent gets to pick with escape rope. Yeah, so your opponent gets to pick with escape rope. So I think with Primal Catcher, you get to pick. So yeah, really good. So yeah, that is about it, guys. Yeah, that is the set. So yeah, I am really, really excited about the set. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna be building any like new decks from it. Like, I think the only cards that I'm interested in, as far as like using in decks, is probably the Ace specs. But as a collector, I would love to have a master set of this. You know, because I am a collector first and a player second. So yeah. So, yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this live stream. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think about temporal forces down below. Um, are you guys excited to get this set? Are you going to be playing? Are you going to be collecting, or both? What cards are you excited for as far as playing? What cards are you excited for as far as artwork wise? Because, as always, the Pokemon artwork in this card game is amazing, and that's why I'm mainly into Pokemon, is just for the artwork. The artwork is just incredible. So, yeah, guys, I will see y'all next time. Matane!